Yo, what's up guys? It's Talon. So today we're going to be showing you guys a Legendary Ranked game. Legendary Ranked is finally back, which is obviously really exciting. I played 2 Legendary Ranked games last night, and in those 2 Legendary Ranked games there were a total of 14 Sovereign Peaks, including myself, and 6 Challenger Peaks. So of the 20 players participating in those games, 14 Sovereign Peaks, 6 Challenger Peaks, nobody lower than that. So definitely very high quality games early, and we're going to be showing you one of those games where we're playing support here. And I really want to talk through my thought process of how you kind of play in a higher level support game, sometimes as well when the lane might not go exactly how you want. So notice first how we play for the lane priority early on. We're just really pushing this lane very hard. That allowed us to rotate and find the enemy jungle. And then you're going to notice my pings on the enemy jungle. So I know that the enemy jungle is going to be right around that camp right now. So I'm pinging enemy missing. And then you're going to see every 10 to 15 seconds, I know he's going to move on to the next camp. And it's very obvious the path he's going to go. He's going to go for his Raptors, then he's going to go red, Krugs, Scuttle, or maybe Raptors, Scuttle, Krugs, red, you know, one of these 2 options. And because of that, I'm just constantly pinging, so I know, again, he's going to be right around Raptors now, and then I'm pinging my teammate so that he's kind of aware of that. And while we're doing all of that, we're still just focusing on the lane by having it push forward, still making good trades in the lane. You can see, again, we ping the red now because we know he's probably around the red side or the Scuttle, so we know he's on one or the other, so I ping my team again there. And I really try to get my Camille to be quite aware of that. And so we're just kind of pinging that. And then you can see we end up seeing him on a ward there. So you can see we're just able to track him throughout the entire first minute and a half through that ward that we get level 1, all while keeping prio. We end up hooking the Xayah into the Caitlyn trap, but Caitlyn gets rooted and ends up dying, but we end up finding the kill onto the Xayah at least, so it's not the end of the world. And because we blew the Melio flash earlier, we're trying to see if we can potentially do anything, but we can't really. And so lane not going very well for my Caitlyn so far. But we did get the kill ourselves, so we're not in the worst spot ever. We want to now see if we can rotate, maybe help out the Orianna or anything like that, grab the fruit, just see what we can do in terms of helping them out. And not much ends up happening. Caitlyn kind of, again, goes there, gets the ult out from the, the Kayle. And now we just throw the Lantern, as we recall. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, these Legend Q games, very high quality. Like, people actually understand how to close out games, even when you're behind or ahead. Like, people know how to play from different scenarios and different circumstances. And it's just overall really good gameplay so far in the early seasons. So I definitely hope that we can continue to have people grinding this, and kind of make it, you know, exciting, hopefully, for people to just keep playing, trying to grind, and then people trying to get up to Master as well. Definitely hoping that all you guys are trying to get up to Master if you're not already, so you can participate in Legend Q as well, because it is a lot higher quality gameplay overall. And so now here we're looking for a potential roam angle. To me, my Caitlyn not doing very well, and she has decent, you know, wave clear, can survive pretty well on her own, and they don't have a tank support. They have a Melio. And a champion like Melio is not as scary for a Caitlyn, because they can't really dive her. So in my opinion, my Caitlyn could probably just end up surviving here, and so I'm like, okay, now I want to try to hard put their top laner behind. My top laner already got a kill, so now I'm going to try to find an angle to potentially help him out. And then we're going to help our jungle look for a potential invade as well. So we're just going to basically play more around our strength, which is our jungle right now in this game and our top side, rather than trying to play around our weak point with the Caitlyn, because I think Caitlyn likely can end up surviving. Unfortunately, my top laner rotates. I wanted my top laner to come here and play for this advantage. Instead, my top laner tries to rotate, which means that we're not able to get as big of an advantage on top side. So Xayah ends up dying and Caitlyn die. But we're just going to play for the invade here. So you can just see how we're kind of setting up our Kha'Zix to get a really, really big gold lead here, which is exactly what ends up happening. And then now I'm looking for the recall, because I was helping him out for a while. Now I do need to go back to make sure Caitlyn doesn't just get absolutely dove and stomped. And we want to potentially protect the turret or anything like that, if possible. Sorry for all my voice cracks, by the way. Don't know why my voice is cracking. Maybe I'm going through puberty again. I don't know. I thought I already got done with that, but maybe not. Either way, you can see, again, we're going for another rotation here. Really just, since that Caitlyn already pushed out that wave, I don't really have a reason to be with that Caitlyn. So instead, I'm going to go for the mid lane. I'm going to play around that. And then now I'm going to look for another topside rotation. You can see here, I messed up my Lantern, but we're just looking to see if we can get the Viego. He ends up dying already anyways, and we're just, again, going to now play for a potential plate for our Orianna and just play around these advantages. So that's a really nice thing about kind of playing these tank supports. You can look for roam opportunities pretty frequently, especially if you're into an enchanter. It's kind of the advantage you have. And then now we get that mid prio. We can now rotate, help out the Caitlyn if needed, go for the wave if needed, and then go right back to helping out our team. So just a lot of rotations early game, kind of making the game easy for our jungler, even if it does make game a bit hard for Caitlyn. But like I said, for those reasons, we assume Caitlyn can still be in an okay spot. And because this is Legend Q, where the players are a lot higher quality, and I didn't mean to take some fruit from her, but because the players are a lot higher quality, it's a lot easier to actually, you know, have your ADC survive without just running it down, because like she'll actually know what she's doing and everything. We're looking to see if we can Lantern the Orianna out here. So we end up throwing the Lantern here to try to save her life, but the Xayah does dodge my third ability in kind of an awkward fashion, and then we accidentally hooked the Amelia, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, this doesn't go the best, but this fight's a little bit messy. We end up being able to get a decent amount of damage off, and I think we end up killing Viego here as well. I try to predict the flash here on the Amelia, but she ends up holding it and then flashing a little later, so we were trying to predict that there because we assume we're not going to be able to kill her unless she flashes. But overall, just these rotations and, again, our team playing quite well allows us to get a pretty big early advantage, especially on this jungle, who you can see is now finding another invade opportunity. So the jungle's up 1,500 gold, and that's really where our advantage is coming from, which, again, is a lot due to these rotations that we ended up having. And now, again, we're looking to see if we can make plays with our jungle. That's often what you're going to want to do. Make those rotations with your jungle, whether you're a mid laner rotating or you're a support rotating and roaming with your team. Whoever, really, just try roaming with your jungle. Try setting up plays as much as you can with your jungle. But then we end up seeing their jungle here. Obviously, I want to see if I can mess with him at all, and then I want to see if I can help out that top side, because again, that's kind of where the advantage is coming from and everything like that. So that's really just kind of an important thing, and just how mobile you can be. And you can be a lot more mobile and roam a lot more on engaged supports in higher elos as well, playing with better players, because they're actually going to like listen and follow properly and everything like that. So we end up blowing the flash from the viewer there as well, and we just continue to try to pressure onto this turret in whatever way we can. Again, just notice how often we're roaming around here, everything like that. And I think we're able to get this turret. Maybe we want to end up covering mid lane. I don't remember exactly what ends up happening here, but yeah, it is important to not just lose that mid lane turret when we do decide to roam, because oftentimes what can happen if you over roam is then the enemy just really hard push onto the lane that you've left. And so that's always something to be a little worried about, which is why we wanted to potentially go back to mid here. But I think we end up killing the Fiora here. We ignite her in a second, and then yeah, she ends up dying there. So we're able to get this top turret here, but they do get some in the mid lane. So Camille covers, and that's another nice thing. You can see the rotations. Our mid laner ends up going top side. Our top laner goes towards mid. Everyone's kind of covering lanes. They understand their job and where they need to be on the map, which really, again, just is what these types of higher quality Legend Q games can look like. Even if you miss spells, you make mistakes, you're still going to have the players understanding their job in the game. So that's another nice thing. We end up getting the hook onto Viego, the Hex Flash onto Emilio, and getting a lot of damage onto them. We flash on Emilio as well and end up killing her. So yeah, overall, just pretty straightforward, smooth game so far. And so now what I kind of want to do is just skip through and show you guys some of the macro things for the rest of the game and kind of how we close it out, because a lot of this is not as entertaining or interesting, so I'm not going to make this video as long. We're more going to skip through and kind of speak about what we're doing on the map to properly close out a game now that we're in this situation, and how the enemy will actually like do a decent job of making the game potentially losable, even though they're behind a lot of gold. So initially our team does end up overextending a bit, and that Caitlyn ends up dying. And then we kind of chase a bit too hard onto Fiora here. But overall, we're just going to end up obviously eventually catching her, which the Orianna ends up doing. Now that we have most of the turrets, you can see all of the outer turrets are already killed. And tier 2 mid turret is killed as well. Now the main thing we're trying to do is just make sure that we maintain priority. We use that priority in all of these lanes to then find invades onto their jungle. And then we try to really hard push onto one lane to break open those turrets, while just kind of focusing mainly on getting objectives. As long as we're getting objectives, we're mostly happy, and then the game can slowly stall out, and then we use Baron and Elder to close out the game. So you can see, again, we're just going to kind of hover around mid here just to get that mid lane priority before the objective, to make sure that it's very easy for us to get. So we're just going to be hovering this side. Now our team kind of overextends here, but they see a fight opportunity. Oftentimes when you're ahead, you're going to want to force these fights because you just know you're going to win them. My team did probably go a bit too ham there, though, because the objective was coming up, but it ends up still being pretty fine. I do miss my third ability there. It was pretty troll, but we end up getting the hook onto the Kayle, so we're mostly fine there. And then you can see how my ADC is just on the dragon as we kind of force this fight here. So even there, like, you're going to have teammates who are actually aware of the objectives. They're going to do that as we're distracting them on the other side of the map. So even though, honestly, in my opinion, we should have just all gone through mid and gone for the dragon, you can see how even when my team does make a play for that, you're going to have other players on your team making the proper play. The Caitlyn getting the dragon, she gets that bot turret after, and she takes advantage of the fact that we're a lot stronger and we're able to force that fight and still come out in a fine scenario. And then she's able to get a lot of free gold from that. And so now, even though she ends up getting taken out there, that's perfectly fine because we have the Lantern here to save Orianna if needed. We end up getting the hook onto the Fiora as well. And now we just need to control the waves and make sure they don't get Baron or anything until our teammate, would respawn, which already has happened now. So now we just want to control the vision around the objective, which is here. And so you're going to see I'm going to end up overextending a bit, mainly because I want to get vision around this Baron side to make sure that my team can end up, getting the Baron for free. And then you're going to see they end up being in here. And so they're kind of aware of that decision that we're trying to make. And they end up catching me out through a mistake by me. But you can even see here, right, they understand kind of what our goal is, which is to get control around the Baron. And so they're really going to hover that and kind of be aware of that. But then our Orianna absolutely pops off here. So shout out to Orianna. But yeah, definitely a mistake by me to go up that far. The main goal was just to get that vision. Our team ends up winning the fight and getting the Baron anyways. And so now we just use the Baron. We're going to push multiple lanes. We're not just going to push one lane at a time. And that's going to allow us to easily end up getting a lot out of this Baron. Now I remember this though, my team does kind of overextend and then we end up getting caught here trying to save him. We get the hook though, and I think Orianna kind of just pops off in the end here with all of her damage. Yeah, and then Kha'Zix goes in. So honestly, again, a bit of a mistake for my team here and for me just going too far. But Orianna kind of ends up popping off, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, you can just kind of see like how the Legend Q games look with, I think there's 6 Sovereigns in this lobby total. And the game is just a lot smoother closed out. Even one person gets caught or whatever, it doesn't mean that the game is just instantly over. Our teammates kind of understand how to approach that and everything like that. So overall, shorter video, just wanted to go through, show you guys some Legend Q gameplay, whatever. We'll continue to make a lot of content around Legend Q as we continue to play it and everything like that. I don't know why I can't speak today apparently. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.